Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Trade Australia Consular Series 2024. Today I'm with Sabine Kazaka, who's the Head of Representative Office here in Australia for the Investment and Development Agency of Latvia. Sabine, wonderful to see you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So Sabine, let's first of all kick off and talk about your role here in Australia.
So I'm the head of the representative office in Australia for the Investment and Development Agency of Latvia. That is a public administration institution subordinated to the Ministry of Economics of Republic of Latvia. But basically it's similar organization as Austrade is here in Australia. Most of the people will understand. And yeah, I work as an economic representative or as an economic advisor that promotes the international trade between Latvia and Australia. And as well as I attract investments to Latvia.
Wonderful.
So working both ways.
Yeah, so trade and investment.
Yep.
Yeah, great. So how long have you been here in Australia?
And now it's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
Came here in the February of 2023. So yeah, it's been quite interesting year and a half. And yeah, I've had lots of delegations, lots of new experiences, and it's been an interesting,
Great. What's your most favorite thing about Australia so far in the last 1.5 years?
I think it's the people.
Yeah.
I think everyone is so welcoming and open, and they make my life and work easier here.
Great.
And everyone just wants to help and helps with different opinions and suggestions and different and are inviting to different events, which is amazing. And yeah, the community here in Australia is good, and of course the weather is nice too.
Yeah, well, Melbourne, we mix it up, and
Yeah.
I know you're based here in Melbourne, but you travel all over across Australia.
Yeah. I cover all Australia. I fly to Sydney actually once a month at least, to some events, and yeah. But I work with all of Australia, all of the states.
Yep. So let's talk about Latvia, Sabine. I think, for many of the typical Australian buyers and sellers, it's not a market they're familiar with. So let's explore some of that. What are the trade and investment opportunities and major categories?
So Ministry of Economics have set us the priority sectors for us to work in. And so we work in 5 smart sectors. It's knowledge-intensive bioeconomy, biomedicine and medicine technologies. Then there's smart materials, technologies and engineering systems. It's information and communication technologies. And yeah, I think I mentioned 5. And renewable energy and smart energy.
Great.
Yeah.
So with your time here, has there been a lot of interest with Australian companies about trying to explore some of those categories, because I know that those are really big growth categories here in Australia, and in many ways we're probably a little bit behind with Europe from some of the take-up of this technology and innovations.
I think the first thing I saw was the interest and the knowledge about Latvia was in information and communication technologies, and it might be also because we have 2 Latvian companies who has strong presence for 12 and 15 years already in Australia, and that was the first thing. Usually when I go to meetings and talk about Latvia, people already know that we're good at all the ICT programming stuff and cybersecurity. And currently, actually, I'm doing a great and large work with the cybersecurity aspects, and that's interesting. And
well, I was going to say in Australia, unfortunately for the last few years, we've had a number of major cyber attacks.
Yes,
so,
too many. So that's why we're here to help. And actually, cybersecurity is one of the sectors that I plan to bring in delegation from Latvia this year, which will be good because in November, I think it was 25th and 26th here in Melbourne, there's a cyber conference, and we're planning to bring Latvian delegation in this specific sector. Yeah.
Great. Well, that's a great segue to my next question. I was going to ask about what are the type of events, programs, and initiatives that you got currently coming up, and what have you done in the past around trying to engage with Australian companies?
So actually last week I just had an incoming delegation in renewable energy. It was a company Ironis who cleans wind turbines, a really good startup in Latvia that has since the last year expanded widely. And they came last year and now they came this year, and projects are running good, and that's really good. So I help companies in those sectors that I mentioned to expand here. I plan them industry briefings, similarly as you said, you're doing these events. I plan them attendances in these conferences. I help them to navigate the meetings, and we go together to specific events and meetings to talk about the sector itself. So yeah, I help to navigate everything on the spot here. Yep. Which is good. And I also attract investments. For example, last year in September, I flew to Latvia to show Latvia to investors from Perth who plans to open a manufacturing facility in Latvia. And yeah, so a lot of traveling, a lot of, events, different, but it's good and it's really, really interesting.
Great. Sabine, what's some common feedback that you get from Latvian companies coming in here? Is there anything that surprises them as a typical thing for coming into the Australian market? Yeah,
they always see, everyone has done their homework before they have come to Australia, so they already has talked to the companies they want with the business partners and so on, and they don't understand why, for example, export contracts or contracts in general hasn't been signed. And then they come to Australia, they meet the Australians in person, then they talk to them, they go and meet them and create these relationships, and afterwards they can see that you instantly sign the export contract that you wanted, because I think Australians evaluate the rules a bit. There's so many exceptions that I don't expect them to understand everything after the first game, but that's some small things that creates the mutual relationships with their potential clients.
Yeah, very true. I think sport is a big part of the Australian culture. Yeah. And actually, you've been here for a year and a half. Have you picked your own team yet?
Yes, I got my team on my second day in Australia.
Really?
Yep.
Richmond? No?
Essendon.
Essendon. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and my first game was on Anzac Day.
Ah,
yeah.
Right.
So started like at the top of the games. Yeah. So it was fun. Yeah. I actually went to the game on Saturday too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yes. I follow actually footy, because that is when the footy season's on. That's the thing we all speak about in the first 5 minutes in all the business meetings. So I kind of have to know. And it's interesting how, it's just the culture here in Melbourne, and everyone, looks at it. So yeah, I've become a fan too.
Very true. And I think there's big rivalries between sport and business, between states as well, and different codes, but it's always good fun. It is a big part of doing business in Australia.
Which one's your team?
Carlton. So rivalry with Essendon, but but no, good fun. And I think one of the things I've asked all the trade representatives and consuls as part of this series is, Sabine, how would you, if you like, pitch or sell Latvia to our viewers who want to do business or want to explore some of the opportunities? So how would you sort of sell it in a bit of a nutshell?
Well, I think everyone knows that we're quite small, so we can't be focused on one specific thing as other countries might be. And we don't have, for example, we can't dig anything up like Australians can. So we have to work in diverse sectors. And regardless of the fact that we are only 1.8 million in Latvia, we are well known, I think, in those smart sectors because we have really good professionals. And I think everyone evaluates the way Latvians work. I think our work ethics is really good, and we're always reliable, and we do what we actually say we can do, and we always are, as a reliable partner in all of those sectors. So I'm always happy to work with Latvians and hear, the reviews from Australians, because it's important for me how Australians, see us too. Yeah. And they always see us as, as a good people whom they can trust, who performs, which is important.
Wonderful. And you're right, that perception of the culture is really important to create that interest and awareness and that trust aspect. So that's great. Well, thanks so much, Sabine. It's wonderful to speak to you. Congratulations on all the work that you're doing, and
thank you.
Would love to be part of that going forward with some of the other initiatives you've got coming up in the next couple of years.
Well, definitely will.
Great. Thanks, Sabine.
Thank you.
So.